Hi class, welcome back. Now we are going to we're going to discuss about the content of informed consent. So like what I've mentioned in my previous video about the ethical standards, it is very necessary and required before conducting a research or giving a psychological assessment to someone or to a participant, it is necessary and required for you to give an informed consent. So again, the informed consent, this contains all the necessary information that a participant or your subjects needs to know about the research or the psychological assessment or test that you will conduct. In here, they will give you their signature or simply their agreement. So in this lesson, we are going to talk about the content of informed consent. Alright, so in this video, I'll just give you the arrangements and the necessary information that you should put in an informed consent. So for the first one, you have to put on the purpose of the research. Excuse me. The purpose of the research contains the nature and the goal. Why are you conducting the research? Or why are you going to give a psychological assessment? For example, you can write that this psychological assessment or research is being conducted for the purpose of educational purposes and for the use or trying out of the assessment tool. Or you can say that this research or this research is being conducted for the completion of a thesis. You can write there the nature and the goal why you are conducting the research. Also, you can include why is the participant chosen, why a specific criteria of the participant is chosen. For example, adults from 18 to 25 years old. So indicate there that why they are included. You can say that they are included because they are the qualified and the research or the psychological assessment is designed just for them. So that's for the purpose of the research. Next, procedures involved in the research. Okay, so in here you are going to indicate what are the series of procedures that you're going to do in the research. For example, if you're going to conduct a psychological test or you're going to administer a psychological test, please write that down as well. Also, and how many minutes is the psychological assessment or the psychological test should be taken or will be taken. Also, how many psychological assessment or tests are you going to give? You can include that. Or you can also include that it's going to be online or an online assessment. You can say that the assessment will be conducted online via Google Forms or via this website. The third one, alternatives to participation. This is for those who weren't able to access the test that you are going to give. Alright, so in here you can say that there are, for participants who will not be able to access the test, or the alternatives will be interview and many more. You can also say that this is only applicable if the participant is not or will not be able to answer the psychological tests. Next, indicate the risks. All foreseeable risks and discomforts to the subject. Note that this include not only physical injury, but also possible psychological, social, or economic harm, discomfort, or inconvenience. In here, you can include the risks that you can see. For example, this psychological assessment might trigger some of these kinds of events. But also, once you've mentioned the risk, please take note that the participant can withdraw the assessment or the research whenever they like. So please do include the risks, factors that can happen during the psychological assessment or the psychological testing. Next, also include the benefits of the research to society and possibly to the individual human subject. So in here you can indicate that the benefit of the research or the psychological assessment that they will take or psychological test that they will take will inform them about their psychological well-being about this kind of factor, or will help the society know more about the current situation of this kind of individuals. You can write the benefits of the research or taking the psychological test by the certain individual. Next, length of time. Please also indicate how long would the individual be taking the psychological test or the series of psychological assessment. The subject is expected to participate. Also include that once they agreed that about the informed consent, they are responsible to finishing the whole psychological test. Alright, next is person to contact. For answers to questions or in the event of a research-related injury or emergency. Kindly indicate there who conducted or administered the psychological test or psychological assessment and who will be able to answer their concerns about specific subjects about the psychological test. Also, this will serve as the contact information whenever the participant wants to get the results of their assessment. Next, statement indicating that participation is voluntary and that refusal to participate will not result in any consequences or any loss of benefits that the subject is otherwise entitled to receive. So in here, kindly indicate that they have the right to refuse to participate and it will not result in any consequences. And they still receive the entitled gift or the entitled gift or results at the end. So it will not affect them. Alright, next is the right to confidentiality and right to withdraw. So in here, statement regarding the subject's right to confidentiality and right to withdraw from the study at any time without any consequences. So kindly inform them or include in the informed consent that it is their right to refuse to continue on the research or the psychological test. And also, they give them the right that all their information or assure them that all their information will be kept confidential. And then lastly, signature of test user. So the test user is the one who administered the test. So kindly include your complete name with contact information for them to know who you are and also when to contact you if ever something came along. And also the test taker. The test taker are the ones who will take the test and or the subject or participants of the test. So that's at the latter part. So that's it. So whenever you're going to start to write about, to write an informed consent, make sure that each bullet parts in this presentation has its own statements. And then make sure that before administering a psychological test or a psychological assessment to a participant or your subjects or your client, please make sure that all of the bullet points that contains in this PowerPoint presentation will be understood. If you have to explain it to them one by one, please do so. Make sure that your participants will understand all the information in this presentation. So that's it for now. See you then!